Hello, my name is Neva Dietrichs. I'm a patient of Dr. Asamoah of Zazen Medical Group. My experience it just seemed like a miracle to me because I had been abused by two other gastroenterologists, and I was made to feel welcome. I was put at ease. The staff were amazing. I was seen. I almost had no time waiting, and Dr. Asamoah herself is the best doctor I have ever had in my 70-odd years of life. And I just feel that I have to pinch myself to know that I can trust a gastroenterologist again, who is amazing. I was going through a stressful time because my husband had had a new knee put in, but then he'd had two falls. One, he almost died. He severed the main artery to his knee. But then I started having diarrhea, and I'm being treated for chronic pain. So I have 4 hydrocodone in a 24-hour period, which gives one constipation. I almost died from impactation on one occasion. And then this diarrhea came for 3 months, 24/7. I was desperate. The other gastroenterologist, who I will not name, told me to go home, drink and sure until I die. And then my 3 of my siblings, they all were diagnosed with colon cancer. So the number 1 symptom is a change in bowel habits. So this was a huge change, but I couldn't. This terrible gastroenterologist said the insurance won't pay until another 2 years. I can't do anything for you. And I had been at emergency rooms in 1 month, and the other month they'd done scan, they couldn't see cancer. I needed a colonoscopy, and my granddaughter just wouldn't give up. And it was strange because my husband, my granddaughter, and my internist all came up with the name of Dr. Asamoah. And the first time my granddaughter called, they weren't taking any patients, they were merging. And so she called again, and no, the 3rd time they took my insurance and I was given an appointment in 2 days' time. She scheduled the colonoscopy, and when I went in for that, the staff were amazing. The nurse, I believe she's working on her master's, she brought me an aromatherapy pillow that smelled of oranges and just made me feel calm before the colonoscopy. And just everyone worked together beautifully. And then when I wakened up, Dr. Asamoah said, no cancer. And then when I was taken back, the nurse brought me some tea. It was amazing. And Dr. Asamoah, unlike the other gastroenterologists, she took 3 biopsies. And that came back in 2 weeks' time, so I went in to get that. And they found out that it was microscopic colitis and collagenic colitis, and it's treated with steroids. So not only was there a diagnosis that no one else had given, but it was treated with steroids. So I'm on my second month of steroids. She also found out that my iron was 4, and so I'm going to have an iron infusion. I mean, they just take care of, she wants to solve problems, and that's what happened. And she even thinks that she can help once this is sorted out. She came up with an iron infusion that I can have that will last for 6 months, won't go through the gut, so won't cause constipation. I mean, it's just like a miracle to me. So next week I'm having the infusion, the iron infusion that lasts for 6 months. And then she's going to start on my throat, which the other doctor had told me to go home and die. She thinks that she can help me with hospitalization, and she will stretch the throat. She didn't say go home and die. She said, we can help. So I've been given like an infusion of hope. So that's really my story. I'm just overwhelmed by the kindness and professional attitude and empathy to the staff here. The previous gastroenterologist sent me home to die and told me that his last words were, go home and drink Ensure, and you can take ice cream if you want to become even fatter than you are now. And so to go from that to this kindness, and I have been monitored since 2001. So I've had experience with lots of gastroenterologists, and this clinic offered me professionalism at the highest level. They gave me answers, they gave me hope, and I've only really scratched the surface of what they can offer. And I didn't know that my iron was 4. Now I know why I've been going about fainting everywhere. While I had the chronic diarrhea, I was going about in diapers trying to get a Christmas tree, and then I'd just pass out. Well, now I know my iron is 4, and she's come up with a solution that will not, because iron is terribly constipating. I have to avoid that because of the risk of impactation that has been a problem, because it's sluggish and I'm in such chronic pain. So on every level they addressed, Dr. Asamoah addressed everything. So, other clinics don't do that. They don't bring out aromatherapy pillows and give you tea. And they listen. Dr. Asamoah listens. And I talk quite a lot. And so I could throw her off, but she always came back. She listens. And through the listening process, she comes up with ideas that others haven't thought of that will make such a difference to my life. I've been in bed for about 2 years, and now I'm up. I'm not dead. This is the only place I would refer them to. It's sort of difficult because the 3 siblings with the colon cancer, well, one sister is in Virginia, and that was diagnosed through just a routine colonoscopy checkup. But my other sister and brother are in Edinburgh, Scotland, and it was also found through a colonoscopy. So I just wish they could come to. There's a Zen group because they don't make one nervous. I'm pretty highly strung, you know, with all that I've been through, but I was helped to relax with kind words, intelligence, hope. And I recommended it to my best friend who had had an experience with that other doctor, but she's moved to Tulsa, she's a nurse, and I told her about the Zen clinic last night over dinner. And she was so interested that she would even travel from Tulsa because she believes what I say and knows that I won't, you know, say something, I wouldn't exaggerate. I just cannot tell you how much my life has changed since coming here. And anyone who needs a gastroenterologist, I will always mention Dr. Asamoah. But I haven't been out for 2 years because I've been in bed. But when I do start going back to church and everything, I will be talking about the Zen group. I'm just blown away. It's amazing, you know, and I almost died at one episode in hospital. The gastroenterologist didn't realize that I had been backed up for a whole year. I traveled to Scotland for my niece's wedding at a castle. I remember looking at the pictures and I did not realize that I was so impacted that I was dying. So I drove myself to the emergency room and I was very cruelly dealt with there. And I could have sued, but I didn't, but it took 5 days to get it all cleaned out. And the thing was, having been there for so long, it was dead. So imagine the sick place. It was so embarrassing, but the way they exploited me was unbelievable. So I'm very careful about who I go to, and that's not going to happen again. But when the diarrhea started, I was scared because my internist took an x-ray and she said I was impacted. I couldn't go through that again. But it wasn't, because the CAT scan showed that it wasn't. So what I needed was what this clinic offered me, delivered, and I'm on the road to recovery. I'm on steroids, which has stopped the diarrhea. I'm just a very happy patient. I was able to go. Dr. Asamoah has allowed the diarrhea. The diarrhea has stopped. I'm being treated with steroids for it. I don't have to go out with diapers on. I'm still not where I have to be because my iron is a 4 and it should be 26 to 45, but she is going to, on Monday, get me in to have an infusion of iron that will not go through the gut. See, who else would come up with that? My internist this week hadn't heard of that, so she wrote it down. So it won't cause the constipation. I mean, way back in the 60s when I was pregnant with my first, I didn't know what had happened because they gave you iron pills. You had to take one every day. That was the first experience of what impactation can be like. And you had to have it. But, I mean, I almost died. So, I mean, they've offered me new life, but I can't really answer that honestly because it's great not having diarrhea and I'm building up there, but because my iron is 4, because my iron is 4, after the infusion this next week, I will see a difference. You know, because iron takes blood to the cells, oxygen to the cells. I'm going about, that's why I'm fainting. So they discovered that as well.